Peace, peace. You already know, Malcolm X. We're going to get into this little, dialogue on Malcolm X. And we're also going to address some of the bullshit, Let me give it a minute or two. See who come through on this Malcolm X holy day. We say Ashe, libations been poured, sage burning, and we just try to induce these good, vibes and these revolutionary spirit. And pay homage, Don't forget Ancestors Day is coming up next month on the 6th. That's where you pay homage to the different ancestors that are relevant to you. So right now being Malcolm X Day, I did want to say a word or two about Malcolm X because we don't want to forget, this great dynamic and sometimes even controversial figure that, did pave a way, did put in work, did, have a love for the people that, and a discipline and a refinement that's almost unmatched. But let's not forget about Malcolm Little / Detroit Red. Because even though Malcolm X was raised in a household of Garveyites, like many of us, at some point we go astray. So him going astray in the conditions that he lived in led him to a life of crime. It led him to a life of pimping, a life of number running, drug dealing, drug using, sleeping around with white girls, wearing a conch in his hair, which is we call now a perm, straightening his hair. He was going through down a path, of gangsterism in his revolution and evolution to becoming who we love, Malcolm X, aka El-Haj Malik Shabazz. So, we have to remember this because there's a lot of Malcolm X's out there right now. A lot of the brothers and sisters I hang out with, they have that Malcolm X type past. They have that past where they was doing gutter shit, until they seen the light, until it was activated within them who they really are, and they started personifying like that. Malcolm X was actually one of the inspirational figures of not only the Black Panther Party, but also the Republic of New Africa. So, right now he would be 92 years old. Today would be his 92nd birthday, I believe, if he was still alive, So even after all these years, he's been gone now for, 50 years? Something like that. And still, over 50 years now, and still, he resonates. Still, his name means a lot worldwide, So we got to pay homage to that. And we have to remember that, a lot of things that he said are still prophetic today. They're still resonating, What he said about the media, and I shared that post about pretty much saying that the media will have the innocent looking guilty and the guilty looking innocent, or have you loving the guilty and hating the innocent. And this is something that we go through right now as a people, and as a society abroad, and that's one of the things that the media does. Shout out liberationmindedmedia.net. He also spoke about the police brutality. He spoke about a lot of things that are still relevant today, and in a way it's a shame that it's still relevant, but it's something that we can reflect on, and we can honor him even more because of his prophetic message, because of his evolution, because of his integrity, the way he stood up, against these devils and against even the agents that tried to get him to switch. He stood on his ground. He stood on his principle. He stood on his square. And even up to his death, which he knew was coming, he still stayed on his square. He still had his integrity and his manhood. And that's something that we can all aspire to. That's something that we should always give reverence to. That's a spirit and an energy that we should always try to utilize, and that we should never forget, our great leaders. And I just think I'm going to address some of the bullshit that's been going around just in case, because I'm sure that some of y'all have seen some unsavory posts, some of them directed at me, some of them directed at some of my comrades, but nevertheless, it has to be addressed because there is a storm that is coming. And I spoke about this before a long time ago, that the flood is going to come. There's going to be that propaganda that's going to come against me, that's going to come against our people. But let me just reflect on Malcolm X for a minute because this all ties in. Imagine with the past that Malcolm X had. Imagine if there was a social media in his day. Imagine if there was a Facebook and a YouTube and a G Plus and all these other different social medias that we have. Now imagine somebody who used to be a pimp, who was an ex-con, who used to do robberies, breaking into homes, doing drugs, selling drugs, and all the different things that he was involved in. Imagine if social media got a hold of his background when he started to evolve into the righteous individual who we know today. Imagine the slander that he would have had to go through, because he already went through slander. There was Negroes who was against what he was about, either because they didn't know better or because they had to appease their masters. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that we would assume that, you know what I'm saying, would be intensified in this modern day of social media. And unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, the fuck boys are looking like they're winning this battle. They're not going to win this battle, but it's looking like it. So the separation is mandatory right now. It's mandatory that we separate, you know what I'm saying, the fake from the real. And the confusion right now because of this media, the confusion right now because some of our people who are sick, you know what I'm saying, and because some people that infiltrate who aren't our people, who will troll and whatnot to instigate certain things. Because of that, you know what I'm saying, the line is getting blurred between who's real and who's fake, about who's really about our people and who's not. And unfortunately, since everybody has social media and everybody is a media person, if they have a camera, then that means that they can have a message out, and that means that people can believe that message. So that means that people could blur the lines between who's real and who's not. So that means that people that's not really doing shit, you know what I'm saying, actually have a media tool at their disposal in which they can convince other people that the ones that are doing something ain't doing something. And that they're doing something, but they're not doing anything but sharing memes and making posts on YouTube and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? This is like part of the danger, you know what I'm saying, that we have going on right now. This is why it's important to reflect on those great leaders. And this is why even with the storm that sometimes come personally my way, all I have to do is reflect on the great ones before me. That's all I have to really do. You know what I'm saying? Because I already knew that some of the stuff was going to happen. You know, we have people that's going around, and these are things that I've been made aware of. You know what I'm saying? I haven't even actually seen a lot of this stuff myself, but I've been having a lot of people, well, I've seen some of it, but you know what I'm saying? There's people calling me a scam artist and a crook because I'm affiliated with Nagus Footwear. So let me just clear something up real quick. Nagus Footwear, I am an affiliate of Nagus Footwear and have been for a minute. I have been affiliate of Nagus Footwear since before most of y'all even knew what Nagus Footwear is. My experience with Nagus Footwear has been positive, meaning that when I've bought products from Nagus Footwear, they came timely and they came on point. And then when I started affiliating myself and selling their products, then the people who have purchased from me have all had good reviews. And some of those reviews are even on Royalties Apparel and Culture community, Facebook community page. So you can see what people who have purchased Nagus Footwear from me have to say. You know what I'm saying? Now, if there's shenanigans, I don't know. If there's some things going on where people ain't getting their products, I have no control of shipping. So to put me in a box and to call me a scam artist and a fake conscious pimp and a fake RBG and all this shit over that is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's bad enough that I have city officials, you know what I'm saying, making public statements calling me and the local chapter, the local New Black Panther Party, a hate group. You know what I'm saying? And then we have people that are disgruntled, you know, that didn't make the cut, you know what I'm saying? So now they're upset, you know what I'm saying? And now they slandering and saying all kind of shit. But all you got to do is really just look, you know what I'm saying? The proof is in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? I have a track record of what I'm doing. I have a track record of integrity. I have connections in the community. I have my own family and friends that are following me on social media and that I run into at certain events and certain different gatherings and meetings and workshops or whatnot that we have. You know what I'm saying? So to fake the funk, you know what I'm saying, would not be in my best interest. You feel me? All you got to do is look at the work. Just like some of these cats, even to this day, will slander Malcolm X. But look at the work and duplicate the work. You know what I'm saying? If you can't duplicate the work, then at least come close to duplicating the work. At least have some kind of work. At least have some alternatives. At least have some solutions, you know what I'm saying, that we could actually apply right now. Because it's a disrespect when people who are not doing anything will condemn or spread misinformation. And unfortunately, some of us will go with that misinformation. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say it, but a lot of this conscious community rhetoric that you hear online is really just Christianity masked with new African, you know what I'm saying, regalia. That's all it really is in a lot of cases. You know what I'm saying? People take those same principles and apply it to the conscious community. So we judge more than these churches that we say are no good for our people. You know what I'm saying? We're arrogant. We don't give people a chance to change their lives. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if this went on with Malcolm X. Malcolm X showed that without a college degree, that you could still walk into a college university and slap up professors and slap up law students and all that shit with an 8th grade education. He showed that no matter what your past is, your future is still bright if you apply certain principles and if you work hard and you make that change and you be that change. That's what he showed. You know what I'm saying? He leveled the playing field, you know what I'm saying, with those of us who have a record. With those of us who used to participate in activities that weren't productive, and he showed that you can make that 180. That's why I give a salute to the other brothers and sisters who I know personally who do the same thing, who I know personally who've been into the pen. I know personally have been into gangs, have been into drugs, have been into unsavory lifestyles that's not productive for our people, but now are doing the exact same, using that same intensity and more to do something positive and to make an actual positive change. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Malcolm X should really, if nothing else, represent to you. He should represent evolution and revolution. Because he turned 180 degrees from where he was going, and he used that same intensity, he used that same amount of vigor and spirit and fire when he was doing, you know what I'm saying, robberies and drug dealing and everything else he was doing engaged in the streets. He used that same thing and more to do positive things, and that's why we know him right now. You know what I'm saying? We don't know him as Detroit Red or as Malcolm Little, the American gangster who did all this and that and took over cities on some crime shit and was bootlegging alcohol. That's not how we know him. We might have known him that way, but it ain't how we know him. So shout out to Elijah Muhammad. May peace be upon him as well. You know what I'm saying? So what we have going on right now, you know what I'm saying, and I'm going to speak about some personal things. I'm not going to get into it in great detail. I'm not going to say no names. It is what it is. But I do know that there has been slander that's been going on said about me. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you know what I'm saying, it's coming from an affiliation with Nagus Footwear. It's coming from one person who says some foul shit, you know what I'm saying, I make some allegations about Nagus Footwear, and because I'm an affiliate, I'm put into the, you know what I'm saying, I'm part of the bunch now. I'm part of this, you know what I'm saying, posse scheme to rip people off. Even though I haven't witnessed anything like that personally, even though people who have bought the shoes from me haven't witnessed that and only have good things to say, but you know what I'm saying, this is the kind of message that I'm getting back. You know what I'm saying? It's enough. It's not enough that we have, like I said, city council members throwing me and throwing the new Black Panther Party under the bus as a hate group, even though we have never hung any people. We never hung any white people. We never dragged any white boys, you know what I'm saying, from the back of a truck until they damn near decapitated. We never bombed any churches. We never did no drive-bys, you know what I'm saying, on any White Lives Matter meetings. We haven't done any of that. You know what I'm saying? What we do is for the community, and yes, we are unapologetic. Yes, we're going to speak truth to power, because that's what we're supposed to do. And you know what? You don't even have to like it. You don't even have to, but you have to respect it. You know what I'm saying? We don't expect for those who won't benefit, whose income and livelihood depends on the detriment of our people. We don't expect for them to like what we're doing when we try to level the playing field and give our people the tools, you know what I'm saying, to get up out of the suppression and give our people the support that's needed. We don't expect them to go along with it. If they go along with it, that means that we ain't doing our damn job. You know what I'm saying? But the proof will be in the pudding. The proof is in the work. The proof is in the fact that, you know what I'm saying, somebody has to stand up, and we're doing it. And it's not just the new Black Panther Party. These kind of slanderous things I hear about all kinds of groups. You know what I'm saying? I've heard people drag New Era Detroit. You know what I'm saying? I've heard people drag Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much any movement that we've had has been dragged by the media, has been dragged by Negroes who are afraid of their enemies, or who are afraid, you know what I'm saying, to do what we're supposed to be doing, what God has blessed us with the ability and capability to do it if we would only accept our mission. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that I personally prepared for. I personally knew that once I start doing certain things and I start reaching a certain level and I start getting close to reaching some goals that are big time, and that are really going to have a strong impact, you know what I'm saying, and bettering not only myself and my family, but the community as a whole. And I knew that once this happened, I knew the storm would come. You know what I'm saying? We've had, as a new Black Panther Party and myself, have had media coverage all out throughout the city, many occasions. And up until this point, they've been positive. But one thing I told my comrades was, look, as good as the coverage has been so far, there's going to be a storm coming. I said this about a year and a half ago. There's going to be a storm. There's going to be a time when the media and people will turn against us. And the only way that we'll protect ourselves from that time is if we are in the streets doing work. Therefore, the different organizations that are on some real shit that are helping the community and the people who we do work with and for will know who we are. And they'll know what we're about. They'll know our heart. They'll know our sincerity. They'll know our integrity. And they'll know, you know what I'm saying, that we are not a detriment to the community. We are a benefit to the community. You know what I'm saying? We're engaged in gang intervention efforts. You know what I'm saying? We do little things like, you know, homeless fees and clothing fees. You know what I'm saying? Youth programs, mentoring programs. These are the things that we get involved with and that we back. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. For all the propaganda that's going around, for all the negative energy that's going around, there's positive energy coming too. So to some of you, so to particular couple people, you know what I'm saying, that sister, one particular sister, I should say, who is trying to put roots on me and trying to put this negative energy and hex me and all this crazy shit, guess what? Guess what, boo? You know what I'm saying? I got plenty of females that's working that magic in my favor. You dig? So my guidance, my protection, and my focus is clear. And it's good. I'm good. So for all this negative stuff that's coming, you know what I'm saying, it's funny how the universe works. It's funny how my yacht will balance that shit out if you only give her a chance. You know what I'm saying? Because for the propaganda about being a hate group, guess what? I'm not even going to tell you what. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say that's a done deal. You know what I'm saying? So people are actually reaching out to me. People are actually reaching out to me and my comrades. You know what I'm saying? With assistance in all different kind of angles. So, I mean, it's coming together. I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying, project my moves and all that. But let's just say, you know what I'm saying, it's all good. And the proof is in the pudding, and the proof will continue to be in the pudding. Because this is not an act to me. This is not a game to me. You know what I'm saying? Like how foolish do you think I would be to be some kind of scam artist, fake RBG, yet I put my life on the line for our people. Even if I don't agree with their religious beliefs, I actually put my life on the line. Like, don't think police don't follow me and shit. Don't think that police and feds don't be tapping my phone and looking into me and my crew. Don't think they don't do that, because they do that. And we know they do that. You know what I'm saying? So we know that there is an evil that plots against us, and we also know that there's a divine that is here to guide us and gift us if we only, you know what I'm saying, stay focused and stay vigilant in what we're doing, you know what I'm saying, and don't break our integrity. So for all the negative energy coming, you know what I'm saying, I'm storing up all kind of positive energy, and I'm going to use all that energy because energy is power. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. So, what was I going to say? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, at this point, there's a purge going on. There's a separation going on. There's a segregation going on between the wink links and the real ones. Between the fuck boys and fuck bitches and those who, and the kings and queens that's really going to fulfill what their destiny is supposed to be. And that's the separation that we actually need. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't tell at this point, if your spirit can't discern, if you wearing all these fancy names and you're sharing all these little fancy memes and you're doing all that bullshit and you're talking about African spirituality, you're talking about black power, you're talking about God and divineness and all that, and you can't tell the real from the fake, if you can't look at the work and judge by the fruit rather than by rumors from somebody who don't know, somebody who's just repeating something because it sounds good or because their whole purpose is just to stir up bullshit, you can't tell that difference right now, it's too late for you. It's a wrap. This message ain't even for you. This message is for those who have to go through the same kind of shit. This message is for those who maybe have not quite been activated yet, but know that the ancestors or the spirit or God or the universe, however you want to classify it, has a role for them and has a mission for them to start. And maybe they haven't started yet, you know what I'm saying? But just know that when you start, there's going to be resistance. That's how you know you're going the right way, because there has to be resistance. If there's no resistance, then you ain't going the right way. You got to change your directions. It's like those video games. If you play those little video games on the internet or on, the PS or whatever, when you know you're going to your mission and there's people trying to kill you, you know what I'm saying? Like if ain't nobody trying to kill you, then you already went that way. But if you have resistance, then you're probably going the right way. You know what I'm saying? But so this ain't a time for fear. This is a time for the real to stand up and link up. This is a time for us to fulfill the destiny. This is the generation for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And at the very least, the next generation coming behind, they're going to knock us in the head if we don't do what we're supposed to be doing. Because they getting sick of it. And they ain't programmed for this shit. They ain't programmed to go along to get along. They ain't programmed to go and work 9 to 5 and all that bullshit. They're programmed to go out there and get it. They're programmed to not give a fuck. They're programmed to not be afraid. They might not be guided properly, but that's our fault. You know what I'm saying? So do what you're supposed to. Let me see who we got over here. Nikki Williams, peace, says love and light. Love and light. Peace to Sam the Grouch. I can't really scroll on this thing, but so man. Oh yeah, let me say this for the local Seattle Tacoma residents. We do have tomorrow, we're going to be showing the 13th at the AME Church on MLK, 2 o'clock. We're going to have food and beverages, some prizes and things like that. We're also going to have a discussion. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, we're anticipating a good bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? So you might want to get there about 1:30, 2 o'clock on MLK in Tacoma at the AME Church on Hilltop. You know what I'm saying? Come out. You got to get this information. I'm going to give you a little bit of preview of what the 13th is about in case you ain't seen it. The 13th is about the 13th Amendment. It goes into how the amendment was formed and what it means. So the 13th Amendment was supposed to be to free the prisoners of war, you can call them. Some people call them slaves. You know what I'm saying? It was to free or emancipate them. Yet, they ended up appending a part of that amendment that said that if you get caught for a crime, then you can be a slave again. That's pretty much what it said. You know what I'm saying? Paraphrasing. So this is why we see these private prisons going up. Matter of fact, that's when the prison system began. But this is why we see these private prisons going up. This is why we have to be a little bit more conscious about how we spend our money and who we spend it with. So I don't expect people to overnight stop spending money with these large corporations, but start pulling your money back. You dig what I'm saying? Start pulling your money back. Start investigating sometimes who we're spending this money with. You know what I'm saying? Redirect some of that money into black businesses. You know what I'm saying? Like, do that. Because if not, then what we're actually doing is we're actually empowering. Not just we're empowering, but we're actually saying to our oppressors and to these people who invest in private prisons, we're saying that that's what we want. Because only blood and money gets respect in America. That's it. So the biggest weapon and power that we have besides unity is our dollars, which is also a form of unity. So that means that if we know that Target uses prisoners for labor, then we know that they have to be in cahoots with private prisons, and we know that we should be spending less money there and finding alternatives. And I don't know if Target actually does this or not, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying there are corporations that do this. There are corporations that actually got their start from enslaving our people. Like we have to know these kind of things. We have to know why the school to prison pipeline allows them to shut down schools. We have to know why they calculate grade elementary school reading levels, and then they'll determine how many prisons they have to buy. So that's what the 13th is about, and much more. So you need to come out and see that if you're in the area. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to be showing that. Make sure you check out Liberation Minded Media. You know what I'm saying? That's 5 different media platforms. We have to be able to control our own narrative, and we have to show support for those who are putting in work to give you a proper narrative, the proper guidance, and allow you to showcase and see those who you wouldn't see typically, who are doing work in the community, or who have business, who are doing music, who have inspirational word, or who is actually giving our own narrative the way we need to hear it. We have to have that alternative to the other news. I'm not saying don't watch the other news, because you can learn something from them. At least you can see how they're trying to grease us and how people are looking at us. But we have to have our own platform, and we have to support that. You know what I'm saying? We got, who's that? Sis Ray Lee. All right, peace to Kevin Fox. Peace to Toya. Love and light, sis. Support how? How do you support the Liberation Minded Media? You go to the website, you know what I'm saying? There's four different Blog Talk shows and also an online magazine. You know what I'm saying? You dip and dab. You see what you vibe with. You know what I'm saying? Check out some of the shows. You know, follow the shows. Show that there's support for it. Show that there's a demand for it. You know what I'm saying? Make a statement that we're gonna support our own independent black media. You know what I'm saying? If you want to put something on a donation box or something like that, you can go to Liberation Minded Media. There's ways to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can go to the Netiquette YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not here asking you for money. What I'm asking for is support. That means, you know what I'm saying, tune in. That means maybe share it to others. You know what I'm saying? Maybe subscribe to the channel by hitting the follow button so people can see that there's a movement growing. Because, you know, sometimes our people have that bandwagon mentality. So unless it looks like it's really popular, then people don't even want to affiliate with it. You know what I'm saying? But World Star Hip Hop gets millions of views. You dig? So people don't mind sharing a video of two sisters fighting or two brothers fighting or other kind of fuck shit like that. But so we have to set the narrative. We have to make a statement, not just to ourselves, but to the world. But first to ourselves, that we support our own people. And then it doesn't even cost $1 to do so. So let's show that statement, you know what I'm saying? Let's support those who are speaking on our behalf unapologetically and not kowtowing for $1 and not kowtowing out of fear from our enemy or fear of being criticized, you know what I'm saying? That's how we can support it. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what's up. Daniel, man. Thank you for clearing things up. I've heard a lot of bullshit trying to claim your group as a hate group, but my personal experience at 23rd and Union is you guys are awesome and support all oppressed folks. Thanks for putting this out. Daniel, peace. Yes, 23rd and Union, that's really pretty much where that thing started from. So you know I'm not going to say her name, but if you know the sister that's running for city council, a couple weeks ago, she came when we were having a rally. It wasn't us that was having a rally. We were supporting Black Dot in Africatown. And, you know what I'm saying? She ended up coming for a hot second just to say her little spiel. Hey, I'm running for city council, blah, blah, blah. My name is blah, 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 whoop, whoop. Then she bounced. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I spoke to her before she bounced and I gave her a card. I'm like, yo, whoop, whoop, however we can support you, let us know. You know what I'm saying? So I've ran into her a couple of times and, you know, I thought she was kind of thorough on that note. You know what I'm saying? Sister running for city council. We do need to be putting our own people in a local office. That is a must. You know what I'm saying? To have a more political leverage, especially in that district. So what happened, peace, knowledge born. But so what happened is a couple days after that, I get an inbox from a couple people who, from Black Dot and from Africatown, basically. They hit me to something like, yo, did you see this post? It was a screenshot of a post. And the post basically threw us under the bus as a hate group. You know what I'm saying? And my whole thing is, you know, you had my number, you could have called me, you know, because I know where a lot of this stuff stimulates from. A lot of this stuff comes from something that happened like almost 20 years ago, you know what I'm saying, with somebody who's not even a new Black Panther anymore. And really, it wasn't even a new Black Panther thing. It was really his personal thing that he was saying and doing. But, of course, you know how the media is going to do it. And, you know, regardless, he has freedom of speech, you know what I'm saying, for what he said. And it is what it is. And he ain't out there lynching people and hating and killing people. Whatever his personal beliefs is, that's his business. But I'm saying as an organization, that's like saying that the Catholic Church is a pedophile organization, but nobody would say that, despite the fact that they have preachers that'll fuck babies. You know what I'm saying? But nobody says, yo, that's a pedophile organization. Nobody says that Christianity is a hate religion, even though King Leopold was a Christian and he killed 10 million of our people in the Congo. You know what I'm saying? So, bottom line, look at the work. Look at the work and look at the history. You know what I'm saying? There's things that the whole world benefits, the whole country, I should say, benefits from the original Panther Party, but they called them hate. You know what I'm saying? But there wouldn't be food stamps, there wouldn't be WICs, there wouldn't be several hospitals and clinics, including the Odessa Brown Clinic, right there on Yesler. You know what I'm saying? So, my point is, no, we are not a hate group. You know what I'm saying? I don't really give a fuck about your emotions, about how you feel about somebody. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to get nothing done. It's only what we do. So what we do is out of love. If having youth programs is hate, then maybe we are a hate group. You know what I'm saying? If trying to intervene with gang activity and stop the killing in our communities is hate, then I guess we're a hate group. You know what I'm saying? If feeding homeless people and giving clothes to people in the wintertime, if that's hate, then I guess we're a hate group. You know what I'm saying? If supporting other organizations and trying to push initiatives and combating the police violence against us and police brutality and trying to hold them accountable, if that's hate, then sure, we're a hate group. You know what I'm saying? But if that's not hate, then I guess we're just a black nationalist Pan-Africanist movement organization that works on behalf of our people. Read the 10-point program and tell me what about that is hate. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad I was able to clear that up for you too. You know, so I mean, you know, we have to support those who are working on behalf of our community. Because if we don't do that, then we're basically sending a signal that we don't really want things to change. We're basically sending a signal that we want to give, you know what I'm saying, more of our time and energy and effort to that in which oppresses us or just keeps us neutral, you know what I'm saying, just keeps us at bay, just keeps us asleep and docile, more than those who are trying to push to restore us to prosperity and to restore us to a state of peace and self-sufficiency and self-determination. So if we really know what the red, black, and green means, then we know that we should be actively in our community. If we really love ourselves and we love the future generations, then there's just things that we could be doing on a collective, you know what I'm saying, that even if a lot of us are just doing a little, we can get a lot done. You know? So like that quote says, you know, when you turn the I into we, even illness is wellness. You dig? So this is a movement. And I don't want y'all to think for 1 minute that there's not things going on in your community, in every community, that's to benefit our people. So that's why I'm saying you have to check out Liberation Minded Media. You got a plethora of different, you have Black Guy Stand Radio. There's a page for Black Guy Stand Radio. You can follow that show. You can listen to archives. There's Do the Knowledge Radio, Knowledge Born Lock. You can check the archives, listen to that show. You can get to his different websites. The Rundown with Renee, you know what I'm saying, same thing. You can get the Renee graphics and all that. My Skin is My Sin. You can get to his show. You can get to his websites and all that. Get this Wisdom magazine. You know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of different ways that you can plug in to, you know, the voice of the people. And even outside of Liberation Minded Media, there's a lot of other independent black media groups and networks out there. You know what I'm saying? Black Star Kickback, shout out. Shabaka Black Experience, shout out. You know what I'm saying? Art Unity Network, shout out. What is it? Royal TV, shout out. You know what I'm saying? Straight Black Pride, shout out. You know what I'm saying? KTL, shout out. Africa History Network. You know what I'm saying? There's enough. We don't see each other as competition because there's enough. We have over 40 million people. You dig? When you turn on your TV, you have 1,000 channels. You turn on your radio, you have 1,000 channels. All white supremacy programming. So there is enough room, you know what I'm saying, for us to have a few hundred different radio programs and TV stations that can give education, that can give entertainment, you know what I'm saying, that can give even the comedy, even the sports, everything that a well-rounded people would need, you know what I'm saying, holistically. So everybody has different lanes that they can play. I don't want to make this too long. I just want to say, you know what I'm saying, it's Malcolm X Day. Make sure you pay homage, however you pay homage, you know what I'm saying. Watch a video, watch an interview of his, read a book, you know what I'm saying. Think of him, pour some libations, do whatever you do, you know what I'm saying. Ancestors Day coming up, June 6th. That's a day that we reverence the ancestors, you know. Marcus Garvey pretty much being the anchor, but all of our ancestors should get praise on that day. We should be wearing t-shirts with our ancestors on it. We should be hashtagging Ancestors Day and sharing different information. You know, we should have a mass meditation. We actually are going to have a mass meditation at, I believe, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. So that's 6 o'clock on the West Coast. And wherever you are around the world, it's going to be 9 o'clock on the East Coast. We're having a massive meditation. So wherever you are, figure that out. If you're in Africa, make sure you set your alarm. You dig? If you're in London, wherever you're at, make sure you set your alarm and be in sync. 9 o'clock East Coast time, Eastern Standard Time, so we can get this meditation. Let's manifest victory. Let's manifest prosperity. Let's manifest destiny. How about that? So, Liberation Minded Media, shout out, you know what I'm saying, to the whole clique. New Black Panther Party. And if you're in the Channel area, check out the Facebook page. Get at us. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the area, also make sure you make it down to the viewing of the 13th tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? 2 o'clock at the AME Church on Hilltop, MLK Street, 2 o'clock. Be there. And don't believe the hype. You know what I'm saying? Let the fruit. Judge by the fruit. Don't judge by the rumors and the bullshit. We have enough of that going on. You know what I'm saying? It's actually a shame as I close this out. It's actually a shame in the year 2017. Me as an activist, me as a Panther, me as a black man, and not just me, but others as well. It's a shame that sometimes our greatest obstacle is our own people. Like, think about that. Think about that. Like, I know the police watch. I know the feds watch and they listen, but they haven't been disruptive. They haven't been directly disruptive to what we're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? But our own people and those who claim that they're conscious and those who was black power one day and fuck you guys the next day. You know, those who was boo and love and hate King and all this shit one day, then it's fuck you, you're a scam artist, you and Amon Ross frauds and all this kind of shit, putting me in that bag the next day without actually having information. When you can actually look through my timeline, you can actually look through my YouTube page and you'll see me out in the streets. No, everything ain't out there, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know how many of y'all have squared up and went and bumped knuckles and bumped heads and actually went blow to blow with skinheads. I don't know how many of y'all did that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many of y'all stood up against the police when they're trying to threaten you because you're trying to stop them from harassing somebody. I don't know how many of y'all did that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many of y'all do that. So if you ain't doing that, then you should shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Before you start opening your fucking mouth and calling people fake and shit like that. This is not no game. It's not a game. You know what I'm saying? This is real life. And the things that people like me do is to benefit you. We sacrifice time from our families for this. Sometimes we even still have to work a slave job. Get up, do some activist shit, little sleep, you know what I'm saying? Neglecting our families, putting our own money into this because we don't get paid for this. We have to make other revenue streams. You dig? So come on, man, don't do that. Don't be the reason why we're not successful when we should be successful because we're in our own goddamn way. That's why we have to have that separation. Because some of these Negroes, they're gonna roll with white supremacy. That's just a fact. Some of these Negroes, that's what they're gonna do. Out of fear, out of ignorance, whatever it is, that's what's gonna happen. Like even Marcus Garvey said, I wouldn't take everybody to Africa because some of them are no good here. So it's the same principle. So it is what it is. $1 trillion. Just think about this real quick before I go. I'm gonna close this out. Serious. But before I do, think about this, y'all. Peace to Congo TV, peace to Alicia Williams. But think about this. $1 trillion, right? I said this before. We spend about 2% of our money with other black businesses. Even though black businesses is the #1 employer of black people outside the government. Think about that, though. So if we only increased it from 2% to 10%, we would create 1 million jobs easily within our own communities. 10% of $1 trillion is $100 billion. Think about that. What could we do with $100 billion? I know Farrakhan made this point just the other day, but it's a point I've been making for a long time. $100 billion. That's 10%. That's only 10% of what we collectively spend as a people. So that means that we could actually remedy our own damn problem. That means that we could be having schools and clinics and recreation centers and cultural centers and grocery stores, supermarkets, farms. We could be having this in all of our communities with $100 billion. So why don't we collectively, don't worry about what everybody else is doing, just make sure that you go out of your way to make sure you spend some money with your own people. This is the kind of discipline that we have to have. You know what I'm saying? This is the discipline that made the Jews go from being a marginalized group to a powerful group. This is what made the Chinese have a strong community in our neighborhood. This is what made the Koreans and all these other ethnic groups be able to come from a condition of poverty and displacement to a position of having power and respect. And we could do the same damn thing, and we could do it better than anybody else. Real talk. So we should be, this is how we have to start actually thinking and operating. And I don't give a damn if those clowns over there is doing it, but I'm doing it. You shouldn't give a damn if they doing it. You just do it. And collectively, we'll start to see the power that we have. And we'll start to see some of these challenges, you know what I'm saying, become remedied in what we're doing. So, shout out to Malcolm X, you know, love and light. Thanks for watching and listening. Make sure you go to Liberation Minded Media. Make sure you show up tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Support the real. Peace.